Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live, talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
Yeah, here I am. Just like that. How you doing? Welcome to the show. It is July 22nd for anybody who's keeping track. I never do. I never know what day it is. I never know what the date is. Sometimes I'm even a little flummoxed about what year it is. But that's just the state of my deteriorating gray matter. So, I just want to start with something that just confused me and continues to confuse me, and something I read today, and I can't quite get it out of my head. I don't know that it's good journalism when you read a story and you're left with so many questions and really very little information. My understanding is that a story is supposed to tell you who, what, where, why, all those W's. And this story didn't tell me why, which is the biggest it begs. It was a front page story in the local rag, the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, and it was about a private school in Sewickley. Actually, the Sewickley Academy is what it is. And I read it quickly. I don't have it in front of me, but what I derived from it was that the top administration, the head of the upper school, the head of the middle school, the head of this school, that, all of the major, it seems, administrators have left or been fired or quit, or I'm not quite sure what but they ain't there. And this seems to involve the board, and it seems to involve a parent group that was formed. And it seems to involve, although nobody flat out said it, critical effing race theory. I don't think those terms were even in the story. But there was all these vague mentions of diversity and education and parental concerns and I am left. If anybody knows more than that, would you please let me know? I'm serious. Ryan Dito tells me that the same thing is apparently going on at Quaker Valley, which is that pretty much next door? Quaker Valley and Sewickley are pretty much in the same part of town, right? And there you have a parental group organized, tacking up leaflets at the grocery store, decrying critical race theory, giving the phone numbers of all the board members. Do you want your children taught, that their country is a horrible place? It is just bizarre. So I just, if anybody knows more, first of all, critical race theory is not being taught in any of these schools. This is one of those crazed, Republican-fueled conspiracy theories, essentially, that's really grabbed a hold of the attention of so many people. I would argue people who seem to be incapable of coming to terms with the real history of this country. I just, what, they want to believe that it is just the liliest, whitest, literally in every way, shape, and form nation on earth. God's country. Did you know God was an American? Well, I can damn well tell you, you betcha he is. And it is a he. And he's a heterosexual, too. Good God in heaven. So anyway, I'm just flagging that for you because I want to know more. And if anyone knows anybody over at the PG, could we have a little more information when you put something on the front page with just all this sort of innuendo and confusion of what, I mean, a pretty, it's a big, expensive private school. You don't just up and half the administration is gone overnight. Something's up, something big. And I think it's something political, obviously, and something a little crazy. So if anybody knows more, let me know, because I am curious, to say the least. There's a story I've been wanting to share with you for, I don't know, weeks now, and it keeps sort of in the course of the kind of, meandering of this program, it keeps sort of just getting pushed away, and yet I find it fascinating. So whether or not you do or not, I promised it and myself that I would give it some airtime today. It has to do with something that I'm sure that all of you have experienced some anxiety and or stress about. And it has to do with those expiration labels on your food. I remember once going through my pantry. I don't have a pantry, with my kitchen cupboard, right? And taking out cans and looking at the dates. And man, it was unbelievable. I can't remember now, but I mean, some of these cans had been obviously in my possession for like 15 years. And because the expiration dates were like 15 years ago. Man, I'm tossing stuff. I'm like, God almighty, yeah, woof, woof, woof. And then, in fact, the other day I took some little thing of yogurt out of the refrigerator, and I thought, ooh, I think this has been in there a while. Let me take a look. And I looked. Sometimes it takes a while to find where the thing is printed. And there it was. It said 6/30/21. Well, it's 7/22/21 right now. So this baby is expired. And I really had a hankering for some salted caramel yogurt. But I thought, I can't eat that. I mean, I could die. You know what? I'm holding it now. I didn't throw it out. And I was thinking, I'll eat it right now on the show and show you that I'm not going to die. Because these labels that can say, best by this date or expired on that date, guess what? They don't mean much of anything. And they are not in any way gospel, nor will you get sick if you eat this stuff. But we have become so, I guess, consumed with not wanting to consume things that may in fact have expired, lest we expire, that we toss food out. Now we toss food out. Americans waste so much food. It's beyond comprehension. in a world where some people are starving, in a country where many are food insecure. 40% of the food in this country ends up in a landfill. Now think of the water. Just think of the water that was required to produce that food. Gone, wasted, at a time when water is going to become the new oil or gold. The average American family, here are the stats, some people will figure this kind of stuff out, throws away $2,000 worth of food a year, most of which could be eaten without any harm, and in fact, tasting fine. Obviously, environmentally, it's really bad as well. So that the amount of wasted food in our landfills is higher than it has ever been. In fact, there's a 50% increase in the food that Americans throw out since 1974. And the reality is that nobody is governing these expiration dates. There's no federal rules. Some states have rules, but these expiration dates that suggest to me and to you that the food is no longer safe to eat or even edible and must be tossed is simply not true. These are really not expiration dates at all. And all they lead to is obviously wasted food, wasted revenue, wasted money. So if I get one thing through to you, stop throwing things out because of whatever you want to call these labels, freshness labels or whatever. And remember this, the animal that you are, the human animal, has senses. And these senses are there to protect us as we make our way through life. Your sense of smell, your sense of taste. And you know how you know if a food isn't good? Smell it. Trust your nose, not an expiration date. There is nothing standardized about these labels. They are as haphazard and absurd a system as ever existed. And I would argue that in large part what they are is a way for grocery stores to make more money. We buy stuff from them, then we forget they're in the refrigerator, then we look at a label, we toss them out, and we go buy some more. And then invariably, some of the whatever we've replaced it with, we end up throwing out as well. So those labels that say best by or sell by, what the hell does that mean? I remember every time I look at a sell by one, it's often on the meats I buy. Sell by. Well, okay, so if it's after the sell by date, well, so what is the calculation of how much time, how many days do you have to after the sell-by date do you have to consume it without killing yourself, right? These are the calculations that we're making. Best by this date, sell by that date. And there is no consistency whatsoever in the food industry. The reality is most packaged foods are perfectly fine for weeks, even months past that date that you're seeing. Ain't gonna kill you. Maybe it won't be quite as crunchy as it was supposed to be, or whatever, but it is not going to kill you. Now, there are some exceptions, obviously. Deli meats, deli salads, eggs. You know if an egg is fresh, you put it in a little glass of water, and if it floats, throw it out. It's supposed to sink. Milk. If it smells okay, it's okay. But most of us, I think, you just look at the label and that's it. And I think this is just a great scam. A really incredible scam. And it's the result, obviously, of our consumerist culture, where we toss so much stuff. We are the most wasteful of people. You know, you see a little mold on your bread. After I read this article, I went to make myself a sandwich, and I saw that there was a little green spot on the bread that I was going to make the sandwich with. I thought, oh no, it's moldy. And I checked a few other slices, and I saw little bits of mold. And I thought, wait a minute, you just read that article. First of all, the mold's not going to kill you. Second of all, take that little piece of mold off if it's bothering you so much, and eat the rest of it. So I over the last, week, I consumed that moldy loaf of bread. It was fine. It tasted fine. Maybe it would have tasted better if I'd eaten it a little bit sooner, but it was fine. And there are laws. This is how crazy this is. There are laws in states that forbid, like, charities or anybody from giving food to, let's say, a food bank or a food, a soup kitchen, if it's beyond the expiration date, even though we know that food is okay. We've just been, our heads have been toyed with through marketing and commercials to just think, to not spend our money wisely. Think of even produce. You know how all the apples and everything, first of all, the apples are too big. How'd they get so humongous? Can't even eat the apples, shiny and all this stuff. This is also our eyes, not our noses and our mouths, which our eyes are the one making these decisions about whether or not food is good. And we think good food is beautiful food. So then a misshapen piece of fruit, which might be delicious beyond belief, won't even make it onto the grocery shelf. So farmers actually plow ugly produce back into the ground. They let it rot in the field. Stores throw out food constantly that is near or past this arbitrary date. And this is insane. So, just saying, stop being a slave to these labels. They are, as you might have thought, close to meaningless. We have callers, and I'm sorry I didn't see that. Go ahead, caller. Go ahead.
Hey, Lynn, it's Mike in Upper St. Clair.
Wait a minute. Oh, yeah, right. I can't keep track of you. Okay, you're in Upper St. Clair. That's right.
Yeah. So you stole my joke.
Wait a minute. I want to say, you'll always be Mike in D.C. to me.
Aw, isn't that sweet? But
know.
You stole my joke.
Oh.
I was going to say I have this kitchen device. Actually, I carry it with me everywhere that tells me if my food is good or bad. And that's called my nose.
Your nose, right?
Right?
Sorry. Yeah.
It's my nose. And I never look at is the milk good date. I open the thing. If there's only a little left, I smell it. And then I pour it in the thing. I never look at those dates unless I'm at the grocery store, ever. Because, P.T. Barnum said it best. There's a sucker born every minute.
Yeah. Well, I've been a big, big sucker. Now, if you're, let's say you're at the produce section though, and you're buying, one of those already washed bags of lettuce. It does make some sense, right, to shuffle through them and get the ones with the
right. Yeah, in the store I look
earliest.
But in the store I look, and if at home I get that bag and it's past the date, but it looks fine, I eat it. If you do get sick, by the way, all you're going to get is an upset stomach. It's not arsenic. It doesn't turn into arsenic. Best Buy, right? Worst case scenario, you get an upset stomach. And you know how many, when that has happened to me in my life? At a restaurant. So if you think in a restaurant, right? If you think in a restaurant, they're looking at best served by date, right? And preparing your food with gloves and whatever. You're insane. You have never worked at a restaurant ever. If it's not walking out of there or literally slimy, it goes on the plate.
Yeah. It's true. And here's the other thing. If it's something like, I don't know, blueberries or strawberries or lettuce, open it up. And if there's a few little pieces that have, look a little, throw those out and the rest is fine. Why are we so quick to toss perfectly good food? It's criminal. It's insanity.
We're raised in a culture that says any risk is too much risk. Right? Oh, there could be something. Oh, there could be. Well, it could. Well, maybe, but how likely is it?
Because it's a it's a consumer culture that has inculcated a constant state of anxiety and fear. And that's one of the things. And I'm, that could kill me. This could, there's always this sense of impending doom. And you've got to be on your guard. And it's insane. All of it is so we will toss out perfectly good things and spend more.
I read an article yesterday about ticks, right? And I forget how many people get the tick bite and have the Lyme's disease. I think it's like 5,000 a year or something. It's some small number, 50,000 a year. And then I think about the COVID vaccine, right? Where 600 people a year have died so far from it. But more people were upset about ticks, like ticks. And I am worried about ticks too. And if there was a vaccine, there is a vaccine for ticks, by the way, for Lyme disease. But people can't get it because of anti-vaxxers, apparently. But there's so much time and energy spent on the littlest thing that could possibly kill you, even though Lyme disease, if treated correctly, doesn't, that the big things are ignored.
I know. We have no ability to assess risk. None. We are nuts. The riskiest thing is probably you do every day is get in your car.
Right. Yep. It's not from the lettuce because it's a little green.
And Barbara has sent me this thing while we were talking about those expiration dates on the drugs, on pills we take.
Right.
Is just crapola.
Well, can I tell you a quick story?
Yeah.
So I dated a doctor for a bit, and he got an allergic reaction walking through a field. So I went to the store, I got off work, I ran to the store, I got Benadryl, I took it to him, I gave it to him, and he was like, thank you. And he said, there's this Benadryl that was expired under my sink, but I didn't want to take it. And I said, you made me do all of that, and you had Benadryl in the house. He was like, well, yeah, it's expired. I said, it doesn't turn into arsenic when it expires. It just has maybe less of
slightly less efficacy. Yeah,
right.
Slightly less efficacy. But here's the thing. What you should have told him is, well, the joke's on you because I just gave you some Benadryl that was in my house.
Right.
And,
that's what I should have said.
It's 2 years past the date.
Right. And he said doctors are taught if it's a minute past, you cannot use it. That's just crazy. It doesn't turn into poison.
You know what? I volunteered for a few years at this nonprofit called Global Links, which takes excess medical stuff. God, hospitals throw out more stuff than you can imagine. Drugs and other kinds of equipment and stuff. And we would repackage it, put it together, and it was sent to poorer nations that were very happy to get the stuff that Americans throw out. And it did involve often expired pharmaceuticals because they're still okay. It's assumed that we throw out $765 billion a year of drugs.
Billion with a B.
That was a B. That's enough right there to tell Biden, and that there we go, the infrastructure bill can pass if we just stop it. Stop it. God,
and another public service announcement, do not put it down the toilet.
That is correct.
Because it infects the water supply, that they can't get that out of there. Right. So we're all taking birth control pills. That's
right. Although if you have some Xanax, throw it down because believe me, the country could use a big dose.
That's exactly what my doctor said when I asked about anti-anxiety medication. He said if I had a choice, I would just put it in the water right now.
Like fluoride. Put it in the water.
Yep.
I wrote a piece for the Post-Gazette decades ago, saying that we needed to put, I think at the time I said Prozac in the reservoir. I mean, that would be a better thing to do. This would be the happiest city in the world. Anyway, hey, thanks, Mike.
Sure.
What? USC.
Upper St. Clair.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Bye.
See you.
Bye. Laura writes, if it doesn't smell bad or taste bad, it isn't expired, no matter what the hell that is. Well, she didn't. That's me. The thing says, a bag of Tostitos is still good 3 months after the date on the bag. God, guys. Okay? Well, maybe we saved everybody a little bit of money today, but I really wanted tell you that. Should I eat this yogurt now? See how it looks? I'll just take the top off, see how it smells. Actually, I'm not hungry at the moment, but yeah. Oh, I think that smells like arsenic. I'm not touching that. Okay, while we're on, is that my callers? No? Yeah. Oh, the other caller got tired of waiting. I don't blame you a bit. I am notorious about failing to see you're hanging there, and then even when I do know you're hanging there, still babbling away and not letting me in. So, I just have to. There's a science book out that's getting a lot of attention, and maybe you've. I don't know. This is the kind of person who would be on Terry Gross's show immediately, so I might be way behind you on this. But it's a book. The book is called The Joy of Sweat. Now, I have to tell you, I hate to sweat. I find no joy in sweat. I can't stand sweating. And but I just want to, from this review, I just want to share one paragraph with you, because it was written for me, because I might not like to sweat, but stop and think about how other animals have to deal with cooling their bodies down. Sweating is actually an extraordinary evolutionary creation. So, in fact, and this is interesting, scientists, it's proven, but scientists think that the fact that we can sweat allowed our Paleolithic ancestors to be able to go out in the heat of day to forage for food that didn't have expiration dates. They used their noses and their tongues. They were able in the heat of the afternoon to go out and forage, while the animals that would normally prey on them couldn't, because they had fur, they didn't sweat, and in the afternoon they stayed in the shade. Okay, so here is the appreciation for sweating, because if you were, let's see, what are some of the animals? If you were a seal and you were really hot, well, you know what seals do when they're really hot? They pee on themselves. Okay. Or if a bee gets really hot, it pukes on itself. I remember reading something about this just the other day. Storks. When you think of a stork, what do you think? One leg. What's that about? Well, maybe it has something to do with this. I don't know. Because when a stork gets really hot, it defecates on its legs. So maybe the leg that's up is a leg they've used to they defecated on, and they're like sort of drying it out or something. I have no idea. But we luckily release sweat, which, by the way, as the climate crisis grows and the weather becomes more and more humid, our sweating is not going to work as well, because the higher the humidity, well, sweat doesn't evaporate. But as it is, we cool our bodies down because in a very easy way, a very passive act. Just saying. Something I came upon. Okay, let me get some of your emails in here. Henry says, I subscribe to a service called Misfits Market. Oh my. And once every 2 weeks, I receive via the United States Postal Service a box full of fruits and vegetables that are too ugly or odd for stores. They know they won't sell it. They don't want it. And Henry says, all this stuff is perfectly fine. And sometimes I get to try a fruit or vegetable I've never had before. Like recently, I was given some dragon fruit. The defects are minor, he says. Some are too big. Some are too small. Some have superficial flaws, but they are all fine. And the box I received is remarkably cheap. Wow. Now that's a great tip. Again, it's called Misfits Market. I'm checking that out. Misfits Market. You tell them they should give you a free box because you got them a bunch of new customers. Ruth writes, I learned during the pandemic that cleaning products have a date on them. What? I happen to use Clorox products and they expire a year after they are made. Well, yeah, because they want you to buy some more. The manufacturing date, however, is in a code. To me, that's an anti-consumer action. Every time I saw Clorox during the pandemic, I bought it. I now have 8 containers of various products that will expire in October. I will use them all up. And many pass their expiration. Yes! How crazy! Isn't that something? Well, good. If you use prescription drugs, the pharmacy that dispenses them has to put a date on it that says the product expires a year. Isn't that magical how all these pills you get from the drugstore expire exactly 1 year after you got it? It's amazing that they all expire at the same rate. Astonishing, really. Ruth says, I use many lotions and potions, and they come in a box. I look at the product itself and go by the manufacturer's expiration date. It was generally long after what the pharmacy puts on the drug. I wouldn't even go by the damn manufacturer's date, Ruth. But, who knows? Unbelievable. Do you feel played? You've been played. As Mike said, P.T. Barnum had it. We're all such suckers because we're scared. They scare you. Oh, I can't eat that yogurt. I will die. Oh, and here's Barbara. You shouldn't eat mold on bread or any bread from a loaf with visible spots. Well, looking at me, I survived. The mold roots can quickly spread through bread, though you can't see them. Eating moldy bread could make you sick. And inhaling spores may trigger breathing problems if you have a mold allergy, which, by the way, I do. I did just fine, though. I'm done with it. I'm eating what's available. If you read accounts of people who survived the most horrific situations, Holocaust survivors, and you find out what they lived on, or people who are, missing because there's, who knows what, they're in the wilderness, and they obviously eat whatever they can find and things they would never have eaten before. And lo and behold, they become survivors. All right. So I'm glad I finally shared that with you, and you guys had lots of good information, and I thank you. Misfits Market. I'm checking that out for sure. For sure. What else? Oh, I want to take this moment to thank the COVID anti-vaxxer types, the ones who are reluctant or who haven't, because look what you have done. You know, you have created, without a doubt, a second surge. And I hope you're happy. I really hope you feel a sense of great accomplishment. Great accomplishment. I want to thank the Republican Party, Fox News, and everybody else who thinks they know more than the scientists. God bless y'all. And if people were as selfish, stupid, and self-centered as you all are back in the 50s, we'd all be worrying about getting polio still. What the hell is it you don't understand? Your risk assessment ability, this is what we've been talking about. Risk assessment. Oh, will that food kill me? Oh, will that vaccine? Your risk assessment ability is so out of whack, so lousy, so subpar, that not only are you risking your own lives, you're risking the lives of everybody around you. And in some cases, people around you may not be as lucky as you. We've got a surge now that is a pandemic for the people who haven't not gotten the vaccine. And I'm sure you've heard this account by a doctor who says, you know, I'm dealing with people now in the ICU who say to me, please, can you give me the vaccine? Can you give me the vaccine? And the doctor has to say to them, it's too late. The vaccine is to prevent you from getting the virus. You have the virus. It can't help you now. I want to thank you all. And then I want to thank the Federal Drug Administration because I don't understand what's going on with them. One of the reasons we're hearing that some people won't take it, drives me crazy, is because, well, it hasn't been approved by the FDA. It's only an emergency approval. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to be a guinea pig, and I'm not taking a vaccine that has got the total imprimatur of the Federal Drug Administration. Do you think they could maybe hurry up? Just this once. And I know they're saying by the fall. Fine. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, work on it and get that up if another 10 million people will find the excuse they had disappear as a result and get vaccinated. And then explain to me how the FDA apparently rushed through leapfrogging over some of its normal protocols to approve this Alzheimer's drug, which doctors and researchers all over the place are screaming, don't give it to anybody. I wouldn't do this. This is not good. In fact, there was a unanimous decision by a council of senior FDA officials 2 months ago that said there is not enough evidence to green light this drug. We don't have enough evidence here. They green lighted it. So what's going on? What's going on at the FDA? The fix was in on that baby. That was. And, you want at a time when people are very quick to have no faith whatsoever in the workings of government, that's a hell of a way to give them more ammo. Being, so careful in the middle of a pandemic. And as for Alzheimer's, what the hell? Apparently Biogen, the company that makes it, must have friends in high places. Well, I have to tell you, I mean, it's interesting to see some of these Republicans wising up now that the people who are dying are all their voters. So you see all of a sudden Stephen Scalise getting and saying, yeah, you got to do this. You got to do this because I'm losing voters here. The Republican governor of Utah, excuse me, accused Fox News and other conservative talking heads of, quote, literally killing our supporters. Oh, dear. Okay, and closer to home, I happened to mention the other day that Allegheny County had like really great numbers of vaccinations. But guess what? This is from yesterday. Dr. Bogan, the Allegheny County Health Director, has said there were 70 new coronavirus cases on Monday of this week and 55 on Tuesday. And quick arithmetic says we're back into triple digits because that's 125 people in Allegheny County have contracted COVID. And this after we had dropped down last month to an average of 10 a day. New cases, 10. And now we're back. Well, this number is going to keep going up and up and up. And again, I want to thank all of you people in Allegheny County who are not vaccinated because this is on you. Dr. Bogan says this is a stark reminder that the virus is not done with us. Give the virus an opening and it will enter. She says the Delta variant in combination with many unvaccinated people has resulted in this new wave. And you can expect more people to start dying now. Man. Roger says anti-vaxxers must be unpatriotic and or hypocrites. They won't do their patriotic duty and are relying on others to take the risk. That is what they're doing. I can't believe it that they'll say to a vaccinated person, well, I am not satisfied with the, with the research that's been done. And it's all too quick for me. And they're talking to somebody who took the risk of getting vaccinated because they figured the risk of the vaccination was much less than the risk of COVID. And let me tell you something. Those people made the right calculation. The anti-vaxxers are making the wrong one. And it's not just wrong for them. I don't really care about them. But they are killing other people by keeping this virus alive. And it is as simple as that. And Roger says a lot of these people won't get vaccinated because it isn't FDA approved. But these are the same folks who don't trust the government. So why would they be waiting for the FDA to sign off on it? In case they hadn't noticed, that's the government. Just maddening. All right. Is there something a little lighter I can find here? Oh, I just wanted to share this with you. This has to do with the other. Oh, I have a caller. Oh, thank you. I'm glad I looked. Hello, caller.
Hello.
Hi.
How you doing? Hey, yeah, we're all
Okay.
suckers, Lynn. For us thinking we eat fruits and vegetables, we'll live longer. Or we're drinking bottled water, which is in some cases worse than tap water. And the pesticides in the fruit and vegetables, and the organic ones. So we're with this notion of us thinking we can control how long we can live because we can eat fruits and vegetables and we can exercise and all that fun stuff when we go outside and breathe that shitty air. So it's all
That's right.
it's just crazy. It's just crazy. But on a serious note, I got Bigfoot living in my backyard, and no, seriously,
You got Bigfoot in your backyard.
yeah, he's leaning against a tree right now. I could see him. No, we're serious. I bought a wood pattern and cut him out. He's one of those silhouettes. You know, those dark those shadows. You used to see him years ago, like the guy with the plane.
No.
One of those deals.
Oh, no.
When you first see it, it looks real. I mean, people like, but it's
What are you trying to do? Freak your neighbors out?
They really can't see it. It's only more for my
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
That's all
Whatever
I got. But that
gives you a
fruits
chuckle.
and vegetables
Okay.
always gets me every time.
Yeah.
I might eat a candy bar, really. Get the same effect. Get some additives or
What?
pesticide. Take your choice. Whatever.
Okay.
I'll eat a Clark
All right, you.
if you could find one.
Clark.
Okay. See you later.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I like Clark
Okay.
bars. Thank you. Bye.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye. Hey, I just want to say this about, how the media is portraying this, Pelosi's refusing to accept Jim Jordan and this other, idiot for the January 6th commission. Good for her. Good for her. Because they were obviously put on to make it into a clown show. And without them, it can actually get down to doing the business of finding facts. The Republicans people say that, oh, they've given the Republicans this gift. She's given them this gift because now they can say, well, it's just a Democrat. It's just a Democrat report. It's totally slanted and biased. No, they would have said that anyway. The reality is that initially the Republicans had been offered a 50-50 commission. They would be able to appoint half of the commission, and Pelosi would have half the commission. And both sides would have subpoena power, totally bipartisan. And they turned it down because they don't want to have anything to do with this commission, because they are essentially, many of them, aiders and abettors of the crime that is being investigated. Generally speaking, people who could be called as witnesses, and, well, Kevin McCarthy's a big one right there, who should not have anything to do with a commission investigating the actual crime. So again, thank you, Pelosi, because now they can get down to business, if only for the historical record, and tell the truth about what happened with the crowd that I understand Donald Trump the other day called a loving crowd. Incredible. Sorry. Oh, and Barbara sent me this. It's a tweet from Dan Rather. How old's Dan Rather? And he's tweeting away. He got to be, what, upper 80s? So Dan Rather had a cute and, wait a minute, tweet. I'm sorry, sorry. You can tell when I'm like, I'm trying to read something as I'm talking about something else and look at me. Okay, so never mind. Okay, Dan Rather's tweet. Stay focused here. The space race of the 1960s was fueled by American taxpayers. This space race is fueled by non-taxpayers. There it is. And one of the reasons they have so much money that they can build rockets and have fun and go into space and all that is because they haven't paid the millions upon millions upon millions upon millions of dollars in taxes that they should have. Simple as that. Just let me make sure I'm. Oh, here's another doozy. Listen to this. Boy, I'm glad Susan got out of that damn state. Misery. The Missouri legislature, well, a committee, a legislative committee, this week held a hearing on how educators teach K through 12 students about race and racism. Guess what? Everybody invited to testify was white. There weren't any black teachers, no black scholars, no black students, no black parents. Yes, we are looking into how our schools teach about race. So let's show one of the big problems about race in this country by only allowing white people to testify. Invitation only. The Joint Committee on Education, state of misery. God almighty. Okie doke. And hang on, okay. And my final thing, and this is to leave you with a little bit more of a, well, this is like not nightmare stuff. It's just eye-rolling, groaning stuff. And of course, it comes out of California. Although, no, wait, I think there's some of this in New York as well. Coastal. Turns out that the latest amenity in high-end condos and apartments that are being built, I mean, we're talking, where it costs, well, here's one. This is in LA, and the condo prices at this development start at $3 million. Okay, just so we understand that you are not particularly in the market. But this condo thing, which claims the largest living wall in America, there are 18 condos in this development. And among all of the usual amenities, I mean, I'm talking serious amenities that would be expected for $3 million. This is the new one that's being added. A spiritual concierge. Yes, I don't know how I've managed to live this long without a spiritual concierge. By the way, thank you, Kevin. Dan Rather is 89. Wow. Good for him. Yes, a spiritual concierge who can set residents up with anything they need for their spiritual comforts the two things they mentioned here, I don't even know what they are. I have gotten through the lion's share of my life without ever needing a full moon intention ceremony. What the heck is that? A full moon. Excuse me, but I have to have a full moon intention ceremony. I don't think I can go another day. And then after it, I want a sound bath. What the hell is a sound bath? At 8600 Wilshire Boulevard in Beverly Hills, there will be a monthly spiritual experience on site tied to lunar cycles. There'll be a cacao ceremony. Good God in heaven. You can even get into edgier things like mushroom microdosing. That one I might say, hey, I'll give that a try. All right, I guess that's it. And Barbara's telling me that Dan Rather has a talk show on Sirius XM. And she says, if you got Sirius XM, channel 127 is progressive talk. And I guess that's where he is. So there it is. Dan Rather, 89, and still out there. God bless him. All right, you guys, I'm going to go eat this expired yogurt and pray for me. That's all I can say. And I'll see you all, well, manner of speaking, on Monday. Have a good, safe, palatable weekend.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.